In the middle of the night, he says he opened his window, looked right across the street, and saw the car had burst into flames. Customers say they bought cars they were assured ran fine, but on the drive home, the check engine light came on. Now the Auto Mall of Champaign has been closed for weeks. If you have ever thought about snatching a package from a front porch, just remember the neighbors could be watching you. Through the eyes of a person of an average height, the horizon is about 3 miles away. But that's it. The story kind of tells itself. If you look here, there's skid marks that stretch out several yards back from the garage all the way up into the point of impact over there. We've obtained never-before-seen pictures from the investigation. After an increase in school threats over the past couple of months, law enforcement throughout the state are taking a stand against them. I'm here with volunteer Mike Sebring. Mike, how cool is it to see things like that happen, those moments?
It's always amazing.
Through an open records request, we got more than 100 pages of reports of testing for mold.
They purchased a lot of dehumidifiers.
91 of them, to be exact. Purchase orders we obtained show the district spent more than $17,000 on dehumidifiers, ordering as many as 15 at a time. There is still an active scene behind me. I'm going to step around, excuse me, while I go to the other end of the camera, and I just show you a picture of what it looks like out here. This happened in a wooded area. Aaron Eades, WCIA-TV, your local news leader.
We have a follow-up now to a story our Target 3 team has been investigating. In October, we were first to tell you the Attorney General was investigating a used car dealer that suddenly shut down.
Dozens of drivers have told us that their cars quit working just days after they bought them and that the dealer refused to fix them. But if that happened to you, there's still a chance you could get your money back. WCIA-3's Aaron Eades live in Champaign. Aaron, you have some answers tonight.
Yeah, we showed you the Auto Mall of Champaign is nothing more than an empty parking lot. It's been that way for weeks. Tonight, we're introducing you to one of the dozens of customers who complained to the Attorney General about this place. But just because the business is gone doesn't mean your options are. And if you're driving a dud, we'll tell you what you can do about it.
Okay, so we're gonna go take a ride in this car.
Jean Wynn's car drives better backwards than it does forwards.
See, now if I put it in drive, see, I'm giving it gas. We're not doing nothing.
Her 2007 Pontiac Grand Prix will go in reverse just fine, but when she tries to hit the road,
it just doesn't want to go.
Wynn says her transmission quit just weeks after she bought it from the Auto Mall of Champaign. And when the dealer called it quits and abruptly cleared the lot, Target 3 started investigating. We've been calling the owner, messaging him, even making house calls. But he won't get back to us. And after Target 3's first story, Wynn realized her Grand Prix could be one of many that turned out to be a grand disappointment.
It's been sitting for a year now, and it wasn't until I was watching Channel 3 and I saw that they closed, so here we are.
How frustrating is that?
Frustrating. I just either wanted our money back or have them fix it for free. You know, I didn't buy the car for it to sit.
It used to be the law. You could say that the sale was as is.
John Rosca works for Land of Lincoln Legal Aid, where they help low-income people with civil cases.
You used to be able to use this buyer's guide that would say as is, no warranties. That was the old days. Now that's modified by Illinois law that says that there is a dealer warranty.
If you bought a used car with fewer than 150,000 miles on it, by law, the dealer owes you a limited warranty. Wynn's car was outside that window. But if your car qualifies and a dealer refuses to fix it or work things out with you, then
the only way to work it out is by suing.
So here's what you need to know. If you bought a used car from a dealer and it had 150,000 miles or less on it, Illinois law says you have a warranty that lasts for 500 miles or 15 days, whichever comes first. If something happens to the car within that time frame, the dealer has to fix it for you for $100 or less. And if they don't, you might be able to take them to court. You have 3 years to sue them if that happened to you. Live in Champaign, Aaron Eades, WCIA-3, your local news leader.
And I'm sure, Aaron, some of those people who got cars at the Auto Mall fit that bill.
There's a lot of people who tell us that they were in that situation inside of that 2 weeks. Of course, it's up to them to decide what they'll do next.
All right, Aaron, thank you so much for the information.
For months, we've been investigating odd-shaped parcels of land that no one owns.
Now, changes are coming that will help notify the neighbors before a company like Nasty Joe's snatches up part of someone's backyard without anyone knowing about it. WCIA-3's Eades has been looking into this. He joins us now. And Aaron, right now, there's no legal requirement. If there's a parcel next to me that's up for grabs, anyone tell me about it?
Not right now, Aaron, but there could soon be. After Nasty Joe shook up a Champaign neighborhood by buying 2 drainage ponds and surprised an Urbana woman by poaching part of her backyard, we started looking for other properties that could suffer the same fate. For a while, we were the only ones telling neighbors this could happen. But now, after our investigation, your elected officials are also working to make sure you don't get blindsided. 2 drainage ponds, a strip of land in this backyard, a fence that divides several properties, and this thin piece that runs the length of a whole street. Those properties all have the same things in common. No one was paying taxes on them, so they were up for auction, and none of the neighbors knew about it until either Nasty Joe's told them they bought the land, or we knocked on their doors.
I heard by accident. I found out from a letter in the mail that someone bought part of my backyard.
I had no idea until you informed me.
I'm totally shocked. I had no idea.
We've been reporting Nasty Joe's owns the ponds and the backyard strip. Company representative Brian Nastras has told the affected homeowners pay him cash or face the consequences.
He's basically threatening all of us with trespassing on his property.
He's just out to hurt people.
When I sat down with Nastras in January, he told me homeowners ought to know where their property lines are and that paying taxes on whatever land they use is their responsibility.
When it happens to you, it's too late to come back and say, well, it wasn't my fault, because you were notified or someone in your association was notified that this was going to happen.
But for months, we've been sounding an alarm because neighboring homeowners are not being told. And here's why. If no one pays taxes on a parcel, a trustee takes possession of it and auctions it off. The law firm Joseph E. Meyer and Associates handles this process for about 100 counties in Illinois. They sometimes send out marketing cards to try to find buyers, but they don't have to. I asked whether they think they should do more to tell neighbors. The president wouldn't answer that question. Instead, he gave me a statement. Part of it says the problems with the properties in question existed long before our company or the county became involved. We will continue to give Champaign County and all our clients the high level of professionalism they have grown accustomed to. This includes changing policies and procedures as we deem necessary. With the trustee seemingly unwilling to do more to tell neighbors about parcels tied up in tax sales, elected officials have taken the matter up.
Never in a million years would I've ever thought this was even possible, let alone having to file a bill to respond to it.
A month ago, State Senator Chapin Rose introduced legislation that would require neighbors of drainage ponds to be notified if that land gets auctioned off. But Rose didn't know about the other parcels we found until I told him. Since then, he's amended his bill to include berms or sound barriers serving as common areas, which would describe these problematic pieces of property. So why do they even exist?
It doesn't just happen.
Champaign County Supervisor of Assessments Paula Bates says it depends on how the subdivision was developed.
Sometimes there's a piece that's left over, and so we have to assign it a PIN number. Sometimes a subdivision doesn't use up all of the acreage.
And we told you last night about this unowned strip of land in Rantoul. It runs right through several backyards, fences, and even the middle of people's sheds back there. It's been in tax auctions for years and could have been bought by Nasty Joe's. Of course, no one on the street was told about it. After we informed the homeowners, the county, and the village a few days ago, they say they're working together to buy the parcel before it ends up in the wrong hands. When Ying Zhang was kidnapped, investigators at the U of I Police Department worked tirelessly hoping to find her. Zhang was a visiting scholar at the university. She was kidnapped and killed more than 2 years ago. Her killer will be behind bars the rest of his life, but before he was caught and convicted, detectives met with him face-to-face to press him for information. Yesterday, I sat down with them.
Why am I under suspicion?
When Brent Christensen became the suspect for kidnapping and killing Ying Zhang, U of I Police Detective Eric Stiverson had several questions for him.
You know that we didn't bring you all the way up here to talk about video games and what you had for lunch that day.
How did he act? What were his facial expressions?
He basically showed no emotion.
But as the interview progressed, there was clear indicators of stress on him, where you could tell that he had realized that we knew that he had picked her up. We will find her. Now, when we find her is up to you, because you know and we know that she didn't just get out of your car.
At what point did you know he did it?
I had a strong feeling that he did it after the discovery of that he was the owner of the car that had the broken hubcap.
That was a key piece of evidence tying Christensen to the crime, but it was buried in hundreds of hours of surveillance footage investigators spent days combing through until Sergeant James Carter saw something. You noticed a detail that ended up being a big break in the case.
I started watching the video, trying to find some sort of anomaly on the vehicle, and I watched it forwards, backwards. I got to one particular frame, and I kind of looked at it, and then that's where I determined that there was, in fact, a defect on that hubcap on that tire.
When you saw that, what were you thinking?
I was like, maybe this is something we could use, something distinctive that I could pass on.
With the car locked down, Stuyvesant says all he had to do was press Christensen a little harder.
Was I trying to play good cop, bad cop? No, but I was trying to set context with him, and I was addressing his denials and saying, we're not going to just spin our tires here. We're going to move forward in this interview. And part of moving forward is to him to be honest with me and tell me that he picked her up. Once he admitted that he picked up an Asian female, then I knew it was him, without a doubt.
In Urbana, Aaron Eades, WCIA-3, your local news leader.